The movie starts with Will, the son of two superhero parents. Commander and Jetstream, the strongest superheroes in the world. Will is expected to join them one day in saving the world. Today is Will's first day at Sky High, a high school for superheroes. Will's father receives a call from the mayor and must leave with Will's mom to go save the world. However, before he leaves, he lets Will know that most of the students at high school will likely have one superhero parent, not two like Will does. He advises him not to show off too much after his parents leave. In the next scene, Will turns on the news on TV, and together with his childhood friend Layla, they watch his parents destroy a giant robot rampaging through town. After the battle, the commander takes the robot's head as a souvenir. The next scene shows Will and Layla getting on the school bus. Will tries to keep a low profile on the bus, but it doesn't work out, and he gets special treatment on the bus. After all the students are aboard, they realize that it's not a normal bus. The bus drives off a ramp and plummets, causing all the students on the bus to scream in fear. Suddenly, the bus transforms into a plane and flies away. They quickly arrive at the high school, which is floating in the sky. The school's location is a secret to prevent villains from discovering it. The new students see many other old students on campus using different superpowers. Some can be seen flying, some using laser vision, and some have the power to freeze people. The freshmen are welcomed by a group of cheerleaders with a routine. However, at the end of the routine, the group of new students realizes it's just one cheerleader who possesses the power to duplicate herself. The cheerleader seems nice, but not all the other students are welcoming. Even Sky High has bullies like every school. Two bullies approach the group of freshmen and demand a $15 fee from each student. Fortunately, the student body president intervenes and gets them to leave. Will can't seem to take his eyes off Gwen. He is fascinated by her at first sight, much to Layla's dismay. Before the freshmen can begin classes, they have to go through a power test to determine whether they will be heroes or sidekicks. Each student goes up on stage and performs their superpower for the teacher, who decides which group they belong to. Will has no choice but to confess to the teacher that he has no idea what his superpower is. Initially skeptical, the teacher drops a car on Will, who narrowly avoids getting hurt. Seeing this, the teacher believes him and assigns Will to be a sidekick. In the nurse's office, she tells Will about the sobering possibility that he may never develop superpowers, just like Sky High's bus driver. After school, Will decides to tell his father the truth about not having any superpowers. However, before he can tell him, his dad takes him to the secret sanctum. The secret sanctum is filled with scientific equipment and souvenirs from his parents' greatest battle. Seeing these, Will no longer has the courage to tell his father that he doesn't know what superpower he has or if he has any. Meanwhile, the robot head from the morning's battle sits on a chair in the secret sanctum, through which two mysterious individuals watch Will and his dad from a monitor. The following day in class, the students receive lessons on being sidekicks. One student inquires about when they'll have the chance to choose their superhero names. Unfortunately, they discover that sidekicks don't have the privilege of selecting their own names or costumes. Those decisions are determined by the hero they are paired with post-graduation. It turns out that their teacher was once the commander's sidekick, but he was disheartened to find out that Will's parents had never even mentioned him to Will. As the students adjust to life at Sky High, they learn to utilize various gadgets like nets and utility belts, transforming them into costumes and poses. One evening, as they study at his house, his father returns home unexpectedly. Meeting Will's friends and learning about their powers, his father appears underwhelmed. He reassures Will that being a sidekick is perfectly acceptable, reminiscing about his own sidekick but struggling to recall the name. Will musters the courage to confess that he, too, is a sidekick, deeply disappointing his father. The commander's anger flares, resulting in a forceful fist against the kitchen counter, sending items flying. His father blames the teacher for Will's designation, assuming it was out of pettiness, and attempts to call the school, but his anger shatters the phone. In a heartfelt conversation, Will clarifies that it's not the teacher's fault, he simply lacks powers. His father desperately assures him that his powers will eventually manifest, but Will claims not to care, expressing pride in being a sidekick. His parents grapple with their disappointment before realizing that their bond as a family is as crucial as their superhero status. The next day, the school bullies target the bus driver with their powers. Despite lacking powers, Will stands up to them, showcasing his aversion to bullying. This moment reveals his determination in the face of adversity. During lunch, the bullies seek revenge, causing Will to spill food on Warren, whose father was incarcerated by Will's dad. Enraged, Warren hurls fireballs at Will, who evades and takes cover under the tables. Will's friends intervene, inadvertently drawing Warren's fury towards them. Overwhelmed, Will hoists the table Warren stands on into the air, inadvertently unveiling his superpower. He propels the table into the ceiling as Warren charges, using a fire extinguisher to douse his flames. The principal arrives and assigns them both to detention. Will attempts to make amends with Warren, recognizing that their conflict is rooted in their father's enmity, but Warren remains unwilling to reconcile. Upon returning home, Will's father is ecstatic to learn of Will's superpowers, celebrating by gifting him an Xbox. Through the robot's eyes, the mysterious duo plots their revenge. In his first class, he partners with Gwen to construct a freeze ray. However, his technological skills prove lacking, prompting Gwen to use her powers to complete the project for him. During lunch, Will joins Gwen and her friends, excluding his other friends due to their sidekick status. Feeling remorseful, he invites Layla to the Paper Lantern, her favorite restaurant, to make amends. As he heads there, he hears his friends in distress and rushes to their aid, discovering them being harassed by bullies. Will intervenes once again, facing down the bullies and freeing his friends. His friends propose a bet to the bullies. If Will wins a game of saving citizens from them, they'll leave the sidekicks alone for the year. In the ensuing game, Will and his partner must rescue mannequins from peril while the bullies play the role of villains. Will's partner is Warren, and though initially overpowered, Will eventually gains control. With determination, he uses his powers to save the mannequins, earning the applause of his peers. Returning home, Will is surprised to find Gwen in his kitchen. She stays for dinner, and the family enjoys a wonderful time together. Gwen invites Will's parents to the homecoming dance as honored guests. Meanwhile, Layla waits alone at the Paper Lantern, where she strikes up a conversation with Warren. Will musters the courage to ask Gwen to the dance, and she accepts. The following day, he meets Layla at the bus stop and, instead of confronting him for standing her up, she plans to ask him to the dance. Before she can, Will excitedly shares his plans to attend with Gwen, disappointing Layla. She puts on a brave smile, pretending to be happy for him, and later lies about going to the dance with Warren. Despite the complications, Will holds a party at his house, but things go awry when Gwen steals a souvenir from the secret sanctum. Layla accidentally stumbles upon the party and is chased away by Gwen. When Will discovers the incident, he becomes angry, ends his relationship with Gwen, and disperses the partygoers. Afterward, he calls Layla to apologize, leaving a message for her to meet him at the Paper Lantern, but she never arrives. On the night of homecoming, Will notices the theft of a ray gun from his father's collection, realizing the impending danger. Meanwhile, Gwen reveals herself as Royal Pain, the archenemy of Commander, and uses the stolen ray gun to transform superheroes into babies. While Gwen's plan unfolds, Will and Layla reconcile, and Layla's friends team up to thwart the villainous classmates. Gwen's sabotage endangers the school's anti-gravity system, threatening its destruction. The sidekicks work together to reach the device, and during a fierce battle, Will finally defeats Gwen using his combined powers. Despite being thrown from a window, Will returns to save the day. He prevents the school from crashing, and his friends deactivate Gwen's device. In the end, Will and his friends restore the teachers and students. Gwen and her gang are apprehended, and the sidekicks' heroic efforts are recognized. The story concludes by highlighting how a seemingly powerless boy saved the world by standing up to bullies, discovering his superpower, and taking a stand against injustice. The story reminds us that even the smallest actions can lead to extraordinary outcomes.